Welcome back to Chasin the Rush. I'm Colin Metzger, and I just got out of the tree saddle, and I thought I'd hop on the podcast and give you an update of how the season's going. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to Chasin the Rush. It's Saturday, October 21st. I've gotten a decent amount of sits in this season. This was the first morning that I've hunted on state land. I've hunted a couple times on our property in Crawford County in the morning, but first morning sit, I saw one doe, and I didn't realize that the wind had switched on me. Last night I looked at the weather, and the wind was supposed to be blowing in the right direction, and then this morning it was blowing right towards where the deer would be coming from, and the doe picked me up like that. So don't have any deer yet. I've seen deer almost every time I've sat, but I haven't gotten anything yet. So I did buy some trail cameras. That was something that I didn't have before. Got some Tacticam reveals, the cell cams. Just got 2 of them just to start out, and put them on state land like 2 miles down from my house. And I've been getting a few pictures here and there, some does, some bucks are finally starting to show up. But I ended up just pulling one of the cameras the other night. I think it was Thursday night. And I was going to put it somewhere else because I've been having some problems with those cameras. I'm getting a lot of pictures of people on state land, and especially in the one spot where I pulled the camera, I only had like 2 or 3 pictures of people on there. But Tuesday night I hunted right by that camera, and the set that I was sitting in was it's on an inside corner, a ton of sign. It's on the edge of a CRP field, and I'm getting down from the stand for the night. I didn't end up seeing anything. But I'm getting down, latching my tree steps to my pack, and here comes a white light bouncing through the CRP field. Comes up to me where I am, and this guy's like, "Oh, are you just setting up for the night?" I was like, "No, it's like 6:30. It's completely dark." He's like, "Oh, did you see anything?" I was like, "No. Did you?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I always thought this spot would be a good spot, but this is where everyone accesses the property. And this is a huge tract of state land." And we kind of just kept talking, and I just we like wished each other good luck in the season, whatever. But I was thinking afterwards, I was like, lots of people are accessing through here. Like you're walking past all this sign to walk through the CRP field, leave your scent on all the tall grass, walk through the field where the deer can peg you from clear across, especially wearing a white lens headlamp or whatever, just flashing that wherever you please. So I just decided it's not worth my time to leave a camera there where people are walking through constantly and scaring all the deer out of there. Like, there's a ton of great sign. It's inside corner. There's like 5 trails that converge on this inside corner. There's a creek crossing there. There's a natural licking branch right where I put my trail camera. Just seemed like a great spot. And I got a few pictures here and there, and now I kind of know why I wasn't getting as many as I thought, because people are walking to the rest of the property, and there's so many other ways to access the other side of the property, the other side of the field. I mean, on the other side of the field is where I have my other camera. And like, I'm getting pictures of people back there, and I'm sure they walked right through the field, but there's other ways to access it. And that's like this morning is where I sat on the other side of the field, and you can access it through like a path that the DNR had cut. And they made it wide enough for like a UTV or whatever else they're trying to get in and out of there. It's a lot quieter going on the DNR trail, and you're not like walking right through the CERP field where the deer can peg you, and just way better for access wise. So yeah, ended up pulling that trail camera, and I'm gonna put it up somewhere else. Probably it'll have to be tomorrow. I got to volunteer at church tonight, so not going to be hunting tonight, but tomorrow's supposed to be another good day. That's kind of how trail cameras are going. The season's, it's going okay, but I'm realizing that hunting on public land is a lot harder than I remember. I've hunted on public land before, but never quite like this, where I'm really only hunting on public land, and I'm moving all over the place, and I have no idea like what's on the land. Like the last time I hunted on state land was 6 or 7 years ago, before we got our deer hunting properties, and we were running trail cams all summer, so I kind of had an idea of what was out there. This year I've had no idea what's out there, and even now, like the cameras I have out, the one camera I should say, like I'm not getting any like target bucks that I'm like excited to go after. Like I have some shooter bucks, but they're a little small, and I'd be okay with letting them go. Whereas on our property in Crawford County, Wisconsin, we're getting a ton of pictures, daylight pictures of big shooter bucks. And even my encounter 2 weekends ago, like I'd be happy with that buck than shooting something that I'm seeing on state land so far. But that could change. I mean, the rut's starting to pick up, like deer activity's starting to pick up. These next 2-3 weeks should start to see a lot more activity, and probably a lot more bucks on camera or just in person as I'm out hunting. The other thing I'm struggling with public land hunting is there's a lot more competition than I remember. Like I always remember during gun season, there being a ton of people hunting, especially like all the Illinois people come up and they hunt the property or the state land around us. Because we're like an hour from Illinois, so we get a lot of Illinois hunters. So as I'm driving around on nights where I'm not hunting or the weather might not be the best, I'm kind of taking inventory of where people are sitting, how many trucks are out, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of people, or even like I've been scouting these places where I think like no one's going to be going, no one's going to be hunting back here. Like this is a hike. Like I'm taking my e-bike way back there and accessing like just really hard to get places. And I'm finding trail cameras or like mock scrapes and licking branches that people have hung up. And it's just crazy to me that like people are going that far. So yeah, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition on public land this year. I don't know if that's I just don't remember this many people bow hunting. Like I knew gun season was a big thing. And then people are just getting farther back and to areas where like you think people wouldn't go. And I think part of that has to do with all these people on YouTube and TV shows have preached for years about you need to get where people aren't going. Well, now people are just going as far back as you can get, and you're still seeing people. So now I'm kind of thinking I need to sit closer to where everyone's parking. I know Dan Infault has the same strategy. Like, he'll see people go way far back, and then he'll sit 100 yards from the parking lot and shoot big deer. So I don't know. I think, yeah, a lot of people are just finally listening to all those people that have preached for years about going where people aren't, and now you need to go even sit closer to the parking lot, I guess. And then again, I have no target buck for this year on state land. That's kind of makes it hard to like figure out a pattern for a deer when you don't even have any deer on camera. You just don't even have an idea of what's out there. So kind of like reflecting on like what I can do better for next year. I need to do a lot more out of season scouting. I'm going to have to do a lot more summer scouting. I'd like to do like late winter, early spring scouting, but because of Bullock Basic Officer Leadership course, I won't be able to do that because I won't get back until middle of June. So going to have to do a lot more out of season hunting in the summer, early season, and then with that, cutting some shooting lanes. So like the spot I sat tonight or this morning and then last night, I could get a few shots off here and there, but it really needs trimmed out. And the problem with the state land around here is the buckthorn is so thick, and like dogwoods and stuff, it's just so thick throughout here. Even if you find a good tree that's like semi-straight, which I'm finding that with the saddle, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but with the saddle, you got to have a semi-straight tree because otherwise you're like your center of gravity is just going to cause you to swing all over the place, and it just gets really uncomfy. If you find a semi-straight tree, then finding a tree that doesn't require any shooting lanes is even harder. Usually I carry a little handsaw and I keep it in my pack. I also have a Huiman pole saw, which is really nice, but I don't really carry that out with me unless I'm like scouting and I'm trying to find a spot to hang a set, and I'll like prep it beforehand. But yeah, next year, out of season scouting, cutting shooting lanes, and then getting permission to hunt or permission to access state land through someone's property, because there's a lot of properties around here that surround the state land, and I could get to areas that I can't get to now because of access issues going through like you'd have to walk through all of the state land, just super thick stuff to get to these areas I want to hunt. So next year, I think I'm going to try knocking on some doors, getting permission to hunt or either access, but I also might not be in the area next year, depending on like what I do career wise. I'm looking at moving to the western part of the state, more towards where our deer camp is, and bigger deer out that way. Not saying there's not big deer here on state land. Like I have some shooters on camera, but I know there's some monsters around here. You just have to find them. But who knows where I'll be. So no matter where I am, I want to start asking for permission. I think people are starting to move away from that. Maybe it's just because for so many years people have been getting rejected. And I feel like in an age of social media and YouTube and all this other stuff, like people are getting less personable and don't want to go out and have conversations with people or go meet people. So that's something I'm going to try next year. I'm actually thinking about tomorrow asking some of the neighbors around here if I can just access state land through their property or hunt their properties, something else, because that way I know there's not other hunters muddying up the state land or that property or whatever else. So this year has helped me in a lot of ways. I mean, the seasons, there's still a lot of time left, and I'm not giving up yet, but the season already has helped me figure out, okay, this kind of works. This is what I need to do for next year. This is kind of what to look for, because it's been a learning curve since I haven't hunted state land in so long, and really haven't hunted in forever. I mean, I came home like once all 4 years of college to hunt on my birthday. So yeah, next year I'm gonna have to run more cameras and get more permission from people. It has helped this year, like I said earlier, that when it's kind of crappy out or just didn't get home from work in time, driving around and seeing where people are hunting is really useful. Just that way I'm not running into them. So this year, my game plan to kind of finish out the season, like I said, that I'd really like to get a shooter buck on state land, which would be nice. And again, things can change in the next 2-3 weeks with the rut. But as of right now, I'm just not seeing any bucks I'm like really pumped for. I'm seeing bucks on camera on our property in Crawford County, just not here on state land. So that might change, but I'd like to shoot a doe or two. And then if I see a really nice buck, that'd be great. But the ones I'm seeing right now, I'd be okay with letting them go and grow a couple more years. And then if I see a buck on our property, yeah, it's going before I see something on state land. Like if I see a buck on our property before I see something on state land, I'm not going to pass it up. I want to get meat on the ground. It's now October 21st. Like I need to get something on the ground. I kind of thought I'd have at least a doe on the ground, which I haven't hunted as much as I'd like to just because I get home around 4:30. I'm pretty tired. Have to gather all my camera equipment, charge my phone because I listen to podcasts all day or audiobooks. And by the time I get ready to go and up into the tree stand, it's like 5:30, and then maybe I have an hour of light left. So I have not hunted as much as I'd like to, and that it's like I haven't made as many videos as I'd like to because I'd like to do a video on my new bike, do a video on all like how I film my hunts, how I do my podcast, all that, and do a video on like my saddle setup. But just because the amount of daylight that I have when I get home, the amount of energy I have, just it's been hard to get stuff out. So and get out hunting. Hopefully now that's the rut though. Like I'm gonna start prioritizing hunting a little bit more, maybe taking more half days so I can hunt the rut and hopefully get something on the ground here. And then I've been doing mostly, well, I've done a couple morning sits, but especially on state land, I'm going to do more scouting prior to sitting. So instead of just like going out to a spot that I've already scouted, kind of know where I want to sit, I want to try a couple new spots, scout my way in, find a spot. Like I have this one spot figured out that I want to hunt in this area, not sure where yet, but a few weeks ago I was riding my e-bike through there, saw one other hunter in the area. I don't know quite where he was, but saw a massive rub on a massive tree. Like I've never seen anything like this, at least in person. I've seen photos, but I haven't seen it in person, especially on state land, and I'll put a picture somewhere, but it's a good sized rub, and I want to hunt in that area just to see what kind of buck that made that sign is. Like, I know it's not always true, but I feel like a tree that big, it has to be a good sized buck. And hopefully it's not already gone because, like I said, that I did see a hunter out there, or his truck somewhere. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan for the rest of the season. Get a doe, and then I'm just shooting whatever big buck I see first on our property in Crawford County or on state land. Just depends. And gonna have to put in a lot more work for next season. Learned a lot of things so far this season. I'm sure I'm gonna learn more. I'm already learning more about filming and editing stuff together than I ever learned at college. That's another thing I want to improve on for next year is filming more. It's been a struggle to like remember to film all the little things to kind of make this cinematic piece and like tell more of a story. Like that's what you have to remember is you need to tell a story with your video, or at least I want to tell a story with my video. And there's some really good YouTube channels out there. Like lately I've been watching Latitude Outdoors. They make the tree saddle that I use, the Method 2. They had a series called Grit. They must have filmed last year. And I really like the cinematography in that and the way they pieced it all together to tell a story. I also like I think it's the Deer Society. I like how they put together their videos. And that's kind of like, I'm kind of going for a mesh of those. And so I got to remember for next year and like the rest of the season, just filming everything. And I want to like try and have the camera more around the house or the camper, like at night around deer camp, like after we're all done drinking beers around the kitchen table after we're done hunting for the night, or cooking dinner for the night, like capture more of that, more of the family camaraderie aspect of the hunting. So gotta remember to do that. But anyway, that's all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, like, share it with your friends, and stay tuned for more.